In ancient Israel, the people were suffering under the harsh rule of the Philistines, who were a powerful and cruel enemy. The Israelites had no peace, and their lives were filled with fear and oppression. During this dark time, something incredible happened. A message of hope was sent from God. Manoah's wife, a woman who had been unable to have children for many years, received a visit from an angel. The angel appeared to her as a bright and shining figure, and when she saw him, she was both amazed and frightened. The angel spoke to her with a calm and reassuring voice, telling her,
"You are barren and childless, but you are going to become pregnant and give birth to a son. Now see to it that you drink no wine or other fermented drink and that you do not eat anything unclean. You will become pregnant and have a son whose head is never to be touched by a razor, because the boy is to be a Nazirite, dedicated to God from the womb. He will take the lead in delivering Israel from the hands of the Philistines."
As the years passed, the child was born, and they named him Samson. He grew, and the Spirit of the Lord stirred within him. He was marked by a strength unlike any other, a strength that would set him apart for the great work God had planned. When Samson came of age, he went down to Timnah, where he saw a woman who caught his eye. She was a Philistine, and though his parents were troubled by this, Samson insisted that she be the one he married. "Get her for me," he told them, "for she pleases me." His parents, though reluctant, did as he asked. They did not understand that the Lord was using this desire to begin a work against the Philistines. On the way to Timnah, Samson encountered a lion. The beast attacked him, but Samson, filled with the Spirit of the Lord, tore it apart with his bare hands, as easily as a young goat. He did not tell anyone of what had happened, not even his parents. As Samson prepared for his wedding, he presented a riddle to the Philistines at the feast.
Out of the eater, something to eat; out of the strong, something sweet.
He promised a reward to anyone who could solve it, but after 3 days, they could not. They turned to Samson's bride-to-be, pressing her to find out the answer. Reluctantly, she betrayed Samson's secret, and he was furious when he found out. In a rage, Samson went to Ashkelon, killed 30 men, and took their clothes to settle the wager. His marriage was shattered, and his bitterness toward the Philistines deepened. Soon after, Samson's anger led him to another act of vengeance. He caught 300 foxes, tied their tails together in pairs, and set torches to them. He released them into the fields of the Philistines, and their grain, vineyards, and olive groves were consumed by fire. In retaliation, the Philistines burned his wife and father-in-law to death. This act of violence set Samson on a path of even greater conflict with his enemies. The Philistines, now enraged, sought to capture Samson. The men of Judah, fearing the wrath of the Philistines, came to Samson and asked him why he had brought such calamity upon them. "We have come to bind you and hand you over to the Philistines," they told him. Samson agreed, but only on the condition that they did not kill him. They bound him with new ropes and brought him to the Philistine army. As they neared the Philistine camp, the Spirit of the Lord came upon Samson, and with a great burst of strength, he broke the ropes and grabbed the jawbone of a donkey. With it, he struck down 1,000 Philistine men. When the battle was over, Samson threw the jawbone away and called out, "With the jawbone of a donkey, I have slain 1,000 men." As time passed, Samson's life took another turn when he fell in love with a woman named Delilah. The Philistine lords approached her with a bribe, offering her money if she could discover the secret of Samson's strength. Delilah pressed Samson repeatedly, asking him, "Tell me the secret of your great strength, and how you can be bound and subdued." Samson, at first, gave her false answers, but she persisted. After several attempts, he finally told her the truth, "If you shave my head, I will lose my strength." Delilah, eager to betray him, waited until he fell asleep in her lap. She had his hair shaved off, and when the Philistines came to capture him, Samson was weak. He could not break free. The Philistines gouged out his eyes, and they bound him, bringing him to Gaza, where they set him to grind grain in prison. But even in his captivity, Samson's hair began to grow back, and so did the power of the Lord upon him. One day, the Philistines gathered to celebrate in the temple of their god, Dagon. They called for Samson to entertain them. They were drunken with pride and mocked him, the mighty man who had brought so much trouble to their land. Samson, now blind, stood between two pillars that supported the temple. He called to God in desperation, "Lord God, remember me. Strengthen me just once more, O God, that I may with one blow get revenge on the Philistines for my 2 eyes." God answered his prayer, and Samson pushed against the pillars with all his might. The temple shook, and the structure collapsed. Samson's final act of strength destroyed the Philistine rulers and thousands of their people. In his death, Samson killed more Philistines than he had in his life. Samson's body was taken by his family and buried in the tomb of his father, Manoah, in the land of Dan. Though his life was filled with moments of pride, sin, and folly, in the end, Samson fulfilled the purpose for which God had called him, to begin the deliverance of Israel from the Philistines. Samson's life is a tale of extraordinary strength and profound weakness. It is a reminder that even in our flaws and failures, God can work His will, using the brokenness of human lives to fulfill His divine purpose.
Thank you for watching. What did you learn from this story? Let's know in the comment section. Please subscribe, like and share.